Look at the mechanics of your own suppression. Someone crosses your boundaries, someone disrespects you, someone looks you in the eye and subtly devalues your entire existence. Perhaps it is a backhanded compliment from a friend, a dismissive email from a boss, or a manipulative text message from a partner who knows exactly how to trigger your anxiety. What is your immediate physiological reaction? Your heart rate accelerates, your jaw clenches, a sudden, violent surge of heat rises in your chest. Your biology is priming you for conflict. And then, immediately, society hands you a script. The voices of 1,000 self-help books, spiritual gurus, and corporate HR modules flood your mind. They tell you to practice gratitude. They tell you to take the high road. They tell you to be the bigger person, to take a deep, cleansing breath, to suppress the fire burning in your chest and simply let it go. We are told from the moment we can speak that negative emotions are a sign of a toxic personality, or worse, an unhealed inner child. We are told that being a good person means being infinitely forgiving, infinitely accommodating, and infinitely peaceful. But what if taking that deep breath is exactly what is slowly killing you? What if letting it go is actually an act of severe self-betrayal? What if the ugliest, most culturally condemned emotion inside of you, the raw, unfiltered, burning sensation of profound disgust, is the only thing that can actually save your life? Act 1. The PR campaign against the shadow. From the time you were a child sitting in a classroom, you were subjected to a massive, highly coordinated, psychological public relations campaign against your own dark emotions. You were taught that anger, resentment, and disgust are toxic elements that must be cleansed from your system. The modern wellness industry has weaponized spirituality, telling you to stay high vibration, to meditate away your frustrations, and to meet blatant disrespect with unconditional love. We have culturally categorized disgust as a character flaw. We view it as a failure of emotional intelligence. We are told to keep a gratitude journal when we are miserable, and to aggressively search for the silver lining when someone is standing on our neck. But if you want to understand the true architecture of human psychology, you must stop looking at what people say and start looking at who actually benefits from their philosophy. Who benefits when you take the high road? Who benefits when you swallow your disgust and keep the peace? It is never you. The only people who benefit from your forced calmness are the people who are actively crossing your boundaries. The only people who benefit from your infinite forgiveness are those who plan on consistently wronging you. Society demonizes your dark emotions because they are incredibly inconvenient to the status quo. An angry, disgusted person cannot be easily manipulated. A person who embraces their disgust cannot be exploited by a toxic boss, gaslit by a narcissistic partner, or drained by a parasitic friend. When society tells you that your disgust is toxic, they are not trying to heal your soul. They are trying to disarm your defenses. They are convincing you to drop your sword and unbuckle your armor so that you are easier to manage, easier to control, and much easier to consume. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche warned us about this exact phenomenon when he wrote about slave morality. He observed that society takes the traits of the weak, harmlessness, obedience, and an inability to fight back, and brilliantly rebrands them as virtues. Society tells the person who is too cowardly to defend themselves that they are actually just peaceful and forgiving. It is a psychological coping mechanism for the powerless. You must snap out of this trance. You have been functioning as an emotional sponge, absorbing the chaos, the disrespect, and the demands of the world around you, and then trying to wring yourself out through therapy, meditation, and self-care. But the goal of a sovereign life is not to become better at absorbing poison. The goal is to refuse to drink the poison in the first place. Act 2. The biological blueprint of repulsion. To deprogram yourself from this toxic positivity, you must stop viewing disgust as a psychological mistake and start viewing it as an evolutionary masterpiece. Your physical body possesses a highly sophisticated biological immune system. When a physical virus enters your bloodstream, your body does not take the high road. It does not send the virus unconditional love. It does not try to understand the pathogen's perspective or excuse its presence because the virus had a hard childhood. Your body raises your core temperature, induces a fever, and violently, ruthlessly attacks the intruder. It becomes incredibly hostile because it has a singular, uncompromising mission: to protect your life. Disgust is simply the immune system of your psyche. Evolution programmed disgust into the primitive human brain to keep our ancestors alive. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, early humans felt physical disgust when they smelled rotting meat, encountered disease, or tasted contaminated water. That physical revulsion was a survival mechanism. It forced them to step away from the poison before it could kill them. But as human beings evolved, our brains developed something far more complex: moral and psychological disgust. When someone manipulates you, lies to you, or takes advantage of your kindness, your brain registers a psychological pathogen. It immediately floods your nervous system with adrenaline and cortisol. The amygdala fires. Your jaw clenches to protect your throat. Your heart rate spikes to pump blood to your extremities. You feel a sudden, intense surge of heat, aggression, and profound repulsion toward that person. That heat is not toxicity. That heat is raw, unfiltered, biological data. It is your subconscious screaming at you that you are under attack. It is your ancient nervous system telling you that this situation is unacceptable, that this person is poisonous to your well-being, and that you must defend the perimeter of your own sanity. When you intercept that biological alarm, when you suppress the disgust to appear polite, or when you force yourself to feel grateful for a painful lesson, you are actively turning off your own psychological immune system. You are opening the castle gates and inviting the pathogen directly into the courtyard. You are forcing yourself to drink the contaminated water, all while smiling and pretending it tastes sweet. You cannot outsmart millions of years of evolution with a positive affirmation. If your body is screaming that someone is repulsive to your nervous system, you must honor the alarm. Act 3. Carl Jung, the monster, and the myth of the good person. To truly master your life and step into your actual power, we must look to the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung and his profound, terrifying concept of the shadow. Jung understood a dark truth about human nature that modern society is desperate to hide. A person who is entirely harmless is not a good person. A person who is incapable of anger incapable of aggression, and incapable of cruelty is not virtuous. They are simply a victim waiting to happen. If you cannot say no, your yes means absolutely nothing. If you cannot bare your teeth, your smile is just a trauma response. If you are only kind because you are too afraid of conflict to be anything else, you are not exercising moral superiority. You are just being cowardly. True morality, true strength, and true virtue require the capacity to be profoundly dangerous and the conscious, disciplined decision to keep that danger under strict control. Think about an elite martial artist. They spend years, sometimes decades, learning the exact mechanics of the human body. They learn how to break bones, how to choke a human being unconscious in seconds, and how to inflict massive, catastrophic physical trauma. They are highly dangerous, lethal individuals. Yet, they are consistently some of the most peaceful, calm, and centered people on Earth. Why? Because their peace is a choice. Their calmness is not the result of weakness. It is the result of supreme, restrained power. They do not need to posture, yell, or intimidate because they know exactly what they are capable of if the situation demands it. You must become the psychological martial artist of your own life. You must integrate your shadow. You must realize that you have a monster inside of you, a primal, aggressive, deeply disgusted beast. Instead of locking it in the basement, turning off the lights and pretending it doesn't exist, you must bring it up to the surface and learn how to put it on a leash. The knowledge that you can destroy a situation, that you can walk away without looking back, and that you can scorch the earth if you are pushed too far, is what gives you true, unshakable confidence. People can smell harmlessness. Narcissists, manipulators, and emotional vampires operate like predators in the wild. They can sense when someone has locked their monster in the basement, and they exploit that harmlessness relentlessly. They will push your boundaries inch by inch, knowing you will always prioritize their comfort over your own defense. But they can also smell a sleeping monster. They can sense when they are dealing with someone who has fully integrated their disgust and their capacity for aggression, and they respect it. They avoid it. They look for easier prey. Act 4. The Alchemy of Demolition. Here is the absolute, unfiltered truth about human transformation that the self-improvement industry refuses to tell you. You do not change your life through gratitude. Gratitude is a beautiful, necessary emotion for appreciating the present moment, but it is a terrible, paralyzing emotion for changing the future. Gratitude tells you to accept things exactly as they are. It tells you to find the silver lining in the storm. But if you are in a situation that is actively destroying your soul, finding the silver lining is a form of psychological self-harm. You change your life through disgust. Every revolution in human history, every massive leap forward, every escape from tyranny was fueled by someone looking at the status quo, feeling a burning, visceral disgust in the pit of their stomach and saying, "I will not tolerate this for one more second." Think about the darkest, most transformative moments in your own life. When did you finally leave that toxic ex? Was it because you meditated? Was it because you wrote in a gratitude journal? No, you left because one day they crossed an invisible line and you were suddenly overwhelmingly disgusted. The illusion shattered. You looked at them and felt repulsed, by their behavior, repulsed by the way they made you feel, and repulsed by the fact that you had settled for so little. That sudden spike of disgust gave you the strength to pack your bags, walk out the door, and never look back. Different emotions serve different mechanical functions. Sadness will keep you in bed for weeks. It makes you heavy and lethargic. Anxiety will keep you paralyzed, trapped in a relentless loop of overthinking and future casting. Gratitude will keep you complacent, convincing you that it could always be worse. But disgust? Disgust is kinetic. Disgust is highly combustible rocket fuel. Disgust forces physical movement. It forces you to reject the poison. It forces you to stand up, draw a rigid boundary, and reclaim your sovereignty. If you are stuck in a dead-end job with a boss who disrespects your time, steals your credit, and underpays your value, do not practice gratitude. Do not try to be thankful that you at least have a paycheck. Get disgusted. Get disgusted by your own wasted potential. Get disgusted by the fact that you are selling your one finite biological life to a corporation that would replace you in 3 days if you died tomorrow. Let that disgust burn away your fear of failure, and use it as the fuel to build your own business, or aggressively, relentlessly hunt for a career that respects you. If you are in a miserable relationship where you are constantly begging for the bare minimum, do not try to understand your partner's perspective. Do not try to play therapist and heal their childhood trauma. Get disgusted. Get deeply, profoundly disgusted that you are being treated like a backup option in your own life. Let that disgust shatter your trauma bond and use it as the fuel to finally walk away. We have been sold the lie that we must always be constructing something new to be happy. We think we need to build new habits, build new routines, and build new mindsets. But sometimes, happiness is not about building. Sometimes it is about demolition. Disgust is the wrecking ball. It is the heavy machinery you use to smash down the decaying, rotten, parasitic structures of your life so you can finally clear the land. Act 5. The Sovereign Roar. To utilize this power, you must understand exactly how to wield it. We are not talking about throwing a tantrum. We are not talking about screaming at retail workers, losing emotional control, punching walls, or acting like a petulant child. Uncontrolled, reactive anger is not power. Uncontrolled anger is just a louder, more chaotic flavor of weakness. We are talking about cold, calculated, sovereign disgust. When you truly harness this emotion, you do not need to raise your voice. You do not need to argue. When you are genuinely disgusted by someone's behavior, you entirely lose the desire to explain yourself to them. You stop sending the long, desperate paragraphs trying to make them understand your pain. You stop debating your worth. You stop negotiating your boundaries. You simply look at them, recognize the pathogen for exactly what it is, and you cut the cord. Coldly, cleanly, permanently. The most terrifying person in the room is never the one screaming and breaking things. The most terrifying person is the one who has absolute, chilling control over their monster. It is the person who can look at a manipulator, feel the intense heat of disgust rise in their chest, and instead of exploding into a rage, they just smile a cold smile, turn their back, and completely erase that person from their reality. This requires a massive paradigm shift. It requires you to stop viewing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and start viewing yourself as the uncompromising author of your boundaries. You have to drop the exhausting, theatrical performance of being the bigger person. The concept of the bigger person was invented by toxic people to guilt-trip healthy people into accepting abuse. When someone slaps you in the face, being the bigger person just means offering them your other cheek to strike. It is a scam. It is a psychological trap designed to keep you subservient and quiet. You do not need to be the bigger person. You just need to be a person who demands basic respect. It is time to stop apologizing for your fire. It is time to stop apologizing for having a hard limit. It is time to stop apologizing for the fact that you have teeth. You have absolute, unconditional permission to be difficult. You have permission to be entirely unaccommodating to people who drain your energy. You have permission to look someone dead in the eyes and tell them that their behavior is unacceptable without cushioning the blow, without softening your tone, and without offering them a polite, nervous smile to make them feel comfortable with your boundary. Do not let the world shame you into silence. Do not let the self-help gurus convince you that you are unhealed, unevolved, or toxic just because you refuse to tolerate blatant disrespect. Do not let society convince you that you must be utterly harmless to be good. The next time you feel the heat rising in your chest, the next time you feel the profound, visceral disgust tightening your jaw and accelerating your heart rate, do not swallow it. Do not breathe it away. Do not write a gratitude list to numb the pain. Feel it, honor it, let it out. Use your disgust to draw a line in the sand so deep that no one will ever dare cross it again. Let them hear the monster. Let them see the teeth. Because the day you finally stop being harmless, the day you finally stop prioritizing other people's comfort over your own sanity, is the exact day the world finally gets out of your way.